Buenas tardes, bienvenidos lectores del El Mexicano, el periódico de nuestra comunidad hispana aquí. Es un gusto para mí presentarles a Tom Lewandowski. Tom Lewandowski es el presidente del Consejo Central Laboral del noreste de Indiana, y él va a hablar sobre muchas ideas que tenemos acá, sobre todo sobre la fundación de un centro para el trabajador. Tom, welcome.
It's great to be here.
And welcome to El Mexicano newspaper, the best Spanish-speaking newspaper in this part of the woods. Today, I understand that we're going to speak about a few things. We're going to recognize John Suarez and talk about a workers' center. Maybe we can name it on his honor.
Well, John was a great guy who we just lost April 6th, and was just buried yesterday. I've known him for probably 30 years, and he was just such an asset to all workers and had a special understanding and representative responsibilities for Spanish-speaking workers. Anyway, he's a great guy to work with.
And I had the opportunity to be with him on different boards of directors, different organizations. Most of his work was behind the scenes. He was a very humble person. He didn't always want to take credit for what he did. One of his typical moves was to pay the food bill for the person that was behind him in line at fast food places. And I also a highlight of the crossing of our paths was a trip to Washington. I actually, you were with us. John Suarez actually participated on a march to Washington about a year ago, last October. Yeah. And that was an event that I was very proud to participate in, and I was so glad to have John along, and his wife.
Well, John was typical of a lot of workers who does a lot more than he says. I mean, we're used to seeing bosses say more than they do, and workers just the opposite. They do more than they say. And John was such a great person in the way he could do that. I just his dedication was incredible, and he had this real calm demeanor. But when he'd get mad, he'd start rising up in his chair a little bit, and you could tell that at that point the arrogant people that he was dealing with were going to be in for a long day. John really had that, and then he'd get that kind of mischievous look, and it was really bad news for him.
And I remember his generosity in more than one instance. We would have fundraising events. I'm thinking of the annual gala that the Hispanic Leadership Coalition has for raising money for scholarships. And sometimes John would purchase one table, sometimes two. He would outbid the generous corporate sponsors.
Yeah, and I remember how he did such a good job of representing so many Hispanic workers, particularly in the building trades, and finding a way, even if there wasn't an obvious way, finding a way to help people.
Yes, indeed. And he just led such a very interesting, colorful life, an exemplary life, if you will.
And I think that was witnessed yesterday at the little church with such a big man in it and such a big impact.
Yes, definitely. And I was very impressed by all the testimonials that expressed what I would have loved to express.
Yeah, because to see how much he cared about social justice and to see that was witnessed so much was great.
And with his passing, there is a deep void in everybody's lives in Fort Wayne. In thinking about John and his commitment to workers, I would like to focus on the plans that we have for a worker center.
Yeah, we get calls. We all get calls from people who have problems at work and they don't know exactly what to do, and they think there ought to be something there, some kind of law enforcement that will take care of things, but most of the time there isn't. The U.S. Department of Labor no longer has a wage and hour division in Fort Wayne. You don't know where to go if you have a problem at work. So we've been kicking around, a lot of us have, how can we do a better job? How can we bring some attorneys? How can we bring some academics? How can we bring some people who have real life experience in dealing with problems? How can we bring all these people together? And one of the constituencies that we're going to need to bring into this process is the Hispanic community.
Indeed. And also, since this is a collective endeavor, we need input and opinions from others.
Yeah. In many other communities, the worker centers are culturally specific. What we're looking to do here is make this open to all workers, accessible to all workers, so it can be in whatever language people are most comfortable speaking, but we want to speak the universal language of workers.
And in our Hispanic community, there is a tradition of inclusiveness. We have the United Hispanic Americans Center, and some of the programs are designed for the community at large.
Well, and we know that there are specific problems in the Hispanic community that are, as I often talk about, it's more a matter of flavor than real difference. But we need to make sure that we're addressing these specific problems because they affect not only the Hispanic community but all workers.
And is there any way to educate the public at large concerning?
Absolutely, relentlessly.
Yes.
We have to talk, share stories. We need the public to bring forward the things that are happening in the labor market, and we need to talk about it. We need to have an interactive discussion about what's really going on in our lives as workers or those people who are trying to work. Because most of the time, we're not allowed to really talk or act in the economy. That's what we've got to turn around. We've got to listen to each other.
And in the spirit of solidarity, I would hope that this would lead to some genuine dialogue, in that the call center advises and teaches people, but it also learns a lot. It's got the potential for being a nerve center.
Yeah, and what we have already discovered, just sometimes by accident, has really been instructive to kind of discover what the pathologies are in the labor market.
Yes. The system is broken in places and it needs to be fixed, and we're best equipped for fixing it.
Well, who better than those who are the practitioners in it? Workers have to have a voice in their own lives, and without that, this economy will never get any better. Will not move from where we are.
Well, Tom, thank you very much. El Mexicano is very grateful, and the community is very grateful for your presence here. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Muchas gracias. Nos veremos pronto.